Just gonna double check audio to make sure we're all okay. Alright then everybody, welcome to BRL Season 12, Round 7 here in Texas. We have come off the back of a very thrilling Round 6, especially in qualifying there, where we saw Skills Down take pole and Wisburn with a lead into the Drivers' Championship and into the end of that Monza race there. We managed to see him win by 3.7 seconds of Mucho Capo in the end, who managed to have a puncture pretty much across the line after all of that. However, I'll be able to now actually fill you in on drivers and team standings. We didn't have any, we did have a big actually set of issues of racing lead tools beforehand, but it looks like we're all okay now. So I can tell you everything about it. Wisburn currently leads the drivers' standings by what I believe is 35 points, I believe it right. 123 points to Rose in P2, who is on 88. Rio Harris back as well now, so he missed 2 races, but he's now back. He's on 87 points. Rashik the same, also missed 2 races, and he's on 79 points in P4. And we got a pretty tight fight here for P5 to P7. Skills Down, D-Move and our Henson on 76, 73 and 72 points respectively. We also then going to turn our way to the team standings. Williams, with that great result last time from Wisburn, lead the constructor standings on 123 points, all of them from Wisburn. But we have Kane out on track there, hoping to maybe try and get his first points of the season in that Williams. McLaren is in second and only just jumped Haas, who are 115 to 114 points. P1, P2 and P3, and it's pretty tight there as well between Racing Bulls and Aston Martin for P4 and P5, 107 to 102 points there. And Alpine, the people who were leading the constructor standings just 2 races ago before Rio Harris left for 2 weeks, they've gone to 6th place and are 1 point away dropping it to 7th from Sauber, so it's 91 to 90 points there. A bit unfortunately here we haven't got a full grid or anything else too crazy, but I think we'll take 15 people here. We've had quite a few last minute checkouts again, so a bit of a shame. But yeah, hopefully we'll still see a pretty good race. I don't know if there's any rain forecast in the race. I wasn't looking at any of the chat if they were saying anything, or have I not seen anything on our Discord, so I'm assuming this will be a completely normal race. High tyre wear, this one, in the race. It's very likely we're going to see everybody doing 2 stops here. Because even if people do make a 1-stop work, I want to say a 2-stop could be faster here. Because even with a 1-stop benefit of not having to go to the pits again, I think it's just so crucial for your race if you're able to make it work. Anyway, though, we're seeing Kadon go for the very tight and twisty section of Sector 1, and it keeps going here in Sector 2. The tyres really scream out at you here, and you'll be very careful not to validate on many of these corners, and Kadon almost loses the car. He manages to validate on the place where you probably wouldn't even expect, on the inside there at the end. Not on the curb, but not sure what Kane's doing here, but he's going to make sure he gets out of the way for Hazard, and he does. It'll be a little bit distracting, but I think Hazard will be completely fine with that one in the end of it. So he'll be the first one to go and set a lap, unless there are some issues later on in his lap. We have got someone who is going to join a little bit late on in qualifying though. Josh in the Mercedes. We'll be seeing him for the last few minutes of qualifying. However though, right now we are watching Hazard on his lap in the Haas. Not looking too bad here, and obviously Haas, Hazard really did have a great one last time out in Monza. I think overall finished P14, I believe, after post-race penalties. So yeah, we'll definitely need to have a little bit of a better race today. And even if that just means getting a P10 or something, just getting some points, I think we'll be pretty happy with that one overall. Obviously, their qualifying form has dipped a bit since that Silverstone, I'm going to say near miracle, really, because I don't know how they qualified so high up. However, though, he's at a 33.5, very immediately topped by Rashik Mills there, with 31.8. That is a very quick time there from Rashik. But we're going to see how people come across the line. K on there, obviously on invalid lap. Kodoy in P3 so far too. We just see Mucho Kappa there, I believe, start a lap as well. I think it's our head to come across the line. It's not an invalid lap, but let's see what he does anyway. 34.1. So definitely a bit of an improvement there on his next lap. Black Rose come across the line for a P2 spot so far. 32.7. Not too bad from him. Who's to come across the line now? Well, on an outlap this is as well. I'm just going to miss Rhea Harris from across the line, I believe. But yeah, Rhea Harris 32-2, but looks like it's valid there. Aiden, I cannot change camera. There we go. Yeah, half his wing is off his car, so he is definitely not going to be doing anything else at the minute. Skills down though. Our last race is pole sitter, believe it or not. He is in P3 currently. Obviously, there are a load of people to go yet. I believe that is a Red Bull of Rose, I believe, yeah, so no worries there. Oh, well. Jeremy sat by braking too late in the pit lane, or just getting it completely crossed up and wrong in the end. He is out of the session. He'll be absolutely hating himself over that one. But unfortunately for him, he is not going to be setting a lap in this session. He just made it a lot more difficult for him for the rest of this race. Looks like there is a McLaren come across the line again. Is that going to be Rashid coming to pits? It is. So nothing to worry about there so far. Rhea Harris slowing down his lap as well. I think Mucho Capo is currently on a lap as well. I don't know if anyone else can be on a lap behind or ahead of him. But it looks like Mucho Capo is going to come across the line in a second now. We'll see what his time was. A very impressive P2 last time out, but you might not like this track as much now. He's P6 and really needs a better lap than that one to get him higher up the field. However, though, Rhea Harris apparently set up a double sector on when he's not on a lap, so interesting stuff there. I don't think that's really correct, but anyway, we'll watch Rose, another contender for pole position. It'll be probably them versus Rashid Neal's for pole position, because we already have a very, very big gap at the minute out in front. So we'll see what Rose does once we get to the end of this qualifying session. Just so you keep an eye on my Discord as well, just to make sure we can get Josh in at the right time. But Rose here, this is probably the most tricky corner of the track. I'm going to do a little bit of a track analysis in a minute, if we can maybe get on board with someone once they start a lap. But Rose here to the line, 31.5, a lovely lap from him. This tells me as well, time trial is definitely slower than this qualifying session. I've seen laps that are pretty much top like 100, top 200 in the 31.5s. And although Rose is quick, I do not believe a banker lap like that will just be that good from him first time round. I think the world record round here is a 31.0 in time trial. So yeah, with track evolution, that could really, well, technically be broken here by, you know, obviously not fully really. Anyway though, Kodoy is on a lap. Mucho Capo, I don't know if he's going to come to the pits or not, but we'll just watch Kodoy going through here. Hopefully Mucho Capo does not block the Red Bull or just decides to come to the pits instead. We'll have a look now. Looks like it should be all okay. Yellow flag there in sector, start sector 2. Kodoy comes across the line. What's the time going to be? 33.4. There we go. Tripped on the words a little bit there. Anyway, though, Mucho Capo did start a lap there actually. Tried getting out of the way, but the awful turn one there, and not really too good for him already. We'll try and hop on board with somebody else. Rhea Harris, I believe, is going on a lap so far. This is used tyres, I believe, for the Alpine. Let's see what he does. Come across the line. So either 31s, maybe. No, 32 does go into that third place slot. Not too bad from him, but we'll definitely want a bit of an improvement there. Let's see, actually, here we go. This will be someone we can finally ride on board with for a whole lap. Exotic Swords into turn one now, pretty blind, but obviously if you have the racing line on, it'll be very helpful for you there. Getting on the power here is a little bit tricky, but make sure you don't overturn the throttle too much, and into this very twisty but flat out section pretty much. You may need a slight lift here or just shift down in gears. Exotic chooses to shift down in gears, and he might even try and take it flat there, but Exotic decides not to. Going with fourth or third gear through here, but you've got to be very careful not to make sure your rear of the car is unstable for the next turn. However, now you get a bit more of a relaxing straight, but you've got to make sure you still nail this exit, as it is very crucial to your lap time. Let's see it now. Looks like going to be a little bit of tone here actually for Exotic Source. I don't know who that is ahead of him. Might be Rhea Harris, I believe, so maybe trying to help out one of the people that he knows. But yeah, lovely little toe there that Exotic Sword's going to get. That will really help his sector 2. You can definitely cut this corner here, but Exotic cuts it just a bit too much, and that is an invalid lap. He will back out of that one, and that toe that he got from Rhea Harris is really put to waste there now. So unfortunately for him, he is not really doing anything better than that so far. Who else is going to be on that lap, starting that lap? I believe our Henson will be the next one to look at. So we'll do the same thing again. We just saw a Red Bull go so quickly come into view there, but no, we're all okay. Once again though, we'll quickly narrate this lap. Obviously it's turn 1, I did say it was going to be blind, but as long as you hit that apex, you are all good. I had to miss it slightly, but it's all okay. Once again, as long as you can get on power, in the exit that corner, you should be all good. Just no wheel spin and you are good. Let's see what he does here. How quick is he going to go through this whole section? It looks like it's only a very gradual lift, but yeah, definitely a significant ball there. He's really struggling for the sector one, completely offline so far. So Henson probably needs another lap here. And this is on fresh tyres, so it's not any used tyres there. Henson just can't get the first sector hooked up so far. But either way, we'll still see what his time is here, because we did see him have a bit of a woeful time. I think it was a 34.0 on his first lap, and I think he just cannot get that first sector right at the minute. Maybe carrying a lot more straight line speed on this car, so probably the first sector will be very hard for him to do. However, he was taking most of it flat out, but he'll definitely suffer the most through sectors 1 and 3, and we're going to come to the first sector now. Not even a purple middle sector though, so maybe he isn't struggling in sector 1 and 3 only. It might be all the sectors in a minute, because if he can't get the increased straight line speed to work, then this can be very bad for Henson when he goes into the race, because obviously lower wings also do contribute slightly to higher tyre wear, because obviously if you have to make the tyres work more to turn into a corner, that is going to really hurt you. However, he's done this sector 3 pretty nicely, I think. I think it's just sector 1 which he's really struggled on, but never mind. As I say that, Henson goes really deep in the final corner, 34.1. He can definitely improve on that one. Obviously, we've seen it in the first sector, and with that being a very wide last sector there, that was not really it from him. We'll go to see what he can do next. K-Dom's on a lap, as well, not as with Exotic. Who else can be on a lap at the minute? I'm trying to see who is on laps and who is quite far ahead. I think the Sheep Mills is on a lap, but that isn't validated. I've just spectated him, and he is not going to be able to do anything. Anyway, let's see now. Blackbone, him and his team are going to do a little bit of a tow here, but Aiden needs to get a bit of a hurry up here, because otherwise Blackbone's going to catch him. However, it might be what he needs to do. Aiden, I think, yeah, didn't even use any EOS rabbits, so definitely needed a bit more than that Blackbone for that tow. But however, Aiden didn't really do that. He decides not to really cut the curb as much Blackbone, and he's 4.5 tenths down, so he's not really got a great lap going so far. But we'll see if there's any big improvements he can make in that final sector, because if it's 4.5 tenths down, it goes to 2.5 tenths. We'll know that Blackbone could be one to watch out for trying to hit that third place spot. Anyway, let me just have a quick look and make sure that Josh is not messaging me. The spam needs to go in. No, he's not. But Blackbone now nails the pit entry, other than what we've seen this session so far with Jeremy Sapp. Pretty bad from him, but he's at least able to still start the race, so that's good news for him. His Arctic Swords, he's going a few seconds quicker for this time in a minute, but obviously that time is validated. Colpo behind, also on the lap, going a bit quicker. 103.4. There's not looking incredibly competitive though, and he is just struggling with the car here. Look at it. Car's going everywhere. Let's see how does he do on here. There's even more struggling on the power, so really not good from Colpillo in the Ferrari here. Still in 6th gear though, he's got a lot of battery to use too. I feel like he definitely should use a lot of this battery pretty early. Just when people are blind, pretty sure Blackbone's quite angry with that, saying that message. But anyway, Colpillo really just struggling to put any sort of rear stability in his car. He does still go ahead of Exotic Swords, but we've seen that he can go a lot quicker so far already. Anyway, Whizburn is on a lap. Sheep Mills, I believe, will finish his lap in a minute. But Rhea Harris, Sheep Mills, they might be trying to go on laps in a minute, but they are not doing anything. Looks like Hazard here is on a lap. Mucho Capo looks like he's on a lap. Kadon may have been on a lap, but he has span it. And we'll just watch now Whizburn, I believe, will watch Mucho Capo as Whizburn hopefully can just navigate this car. Same with Mucho Capo. Hopefully Kadon just keeps some stuff off the track. Looks like we're going to be all okay there. Anyway, we're going to watch Whizburn now. Look like he's the purple first sector, or one of the like there. So let's see what is he going to do. Lovely send into that second last corner. Let's see it now into the final one. You probably want to try and hug the curb a little more, because yeah, you're seeing there Whizburn really unhappy there on the rear end. But he still goes to P4. Not too bad of a time there. Yeah, I definitely think if you cut that last corner a little bit more, then I feel like you're going to be able to get a lot more of time out of that one. Anyway though, Mucho Capo did improve on his time. I don't believe he picked up any places. Maybe one ahead of our Henson, but I didn't really see down the leaderboard there, so very sorry. Anyway, yellow flag there. I believe that's Kadom, who has either span, or it could be someone else actually, could be Whizburn. I'm not too sure. Hazard validates his lap. He's going to need to quickly get back into the pits and use his last set of fresh tyres, I presume. So, Josh also needs to get himself in really quickly, so maybe if we can invite him quick enough. Is he here? Is he here? Is he here? He is. Right. There we go. If Josh can get himself in, then we should be all okay for this race. We're going to have 16 drivers in it overall. Anyway, look, Moose Capo is not on a lap a minute. Wisburn is not on a lap a minute. So this is just the calm bit here before we get all the final laps. Wisburn is it's not really a quick way to take the track, but he's just, I think he's trying to get to the pit lane a bit quicker here, but I think he's on a bit of low fuel mode there, and also that's not really helped him at all. I think just taking the track normally there could have been a bit better for him, but he needs to really get back into the pits like ASAP if he wants to get one more shot at qualifying. Let's watch him now. He'll definitely go into the pit lane here, but he needs to be quick out. Some people have already started going on their out laps here. Aiden already halfway down the lap so far. Exotic Swords in sector 1, and we're seeing a few more people come out of their pit lanes now. We saw Alpine, a Haas, a Williams there, a Red Bull. If Josh manages to get a set up on ASAP, then he could set a lap as well, but he's got to hurry out the pits here really quickly, and I don't think he's going to be able to do that unless he properly pushes or he cuts a few corners. Anyway, though, Henderson trying to make sure he gets out of the way of everybody. Mucha Kappa there was on a lap, so he'd have to see a Haas at the apex, but I think there won't be too many issues with that one. Henderson was off the racing line, definitely, so yeah, we'll watch Mucha Kappa though anyway. He's 8,000 off this time, but everyone just seems to be struggling there with just turning the front of the car in so far. I think the temps are really suffering on the front end of these cars. We'll see now though, Mucha Kappa go down the second sector. Would it be any tow for him, like we've seen in Aston Martin, I believe, Aston Martin pull off. Anyway, no, Wisburn retired. He's out. He is not be able to set another lap in time. And everybody else who is on an out lap does need to get a bit of a hurry on here. I believe that is Aiden who's already started his lap, so they need to make sure they're aware of him. But look at this, it's very close between them all. Kadom may have had a bit of a say there in Mucha Kappa's lap and how it could have gone, but there was a bit of chaos there between himself and I believe that was Wisburn and Kadom. I don't know, Kadom and I don't know who that is. Kodoi? No, Jose there actually. So yeah, maybe there'll be something to say about that, but I'm not too sure yet. Anyway, Mucha Kappa will be the first person we see come across the line, and he's bailed out of this one. He'll go again, maybe trying to give somebody a tow or just pull off to the side here. Do not be angry and try and hit someone, I beg of you please, because we do not want anything of that. Anyway though, Aiden right now, he needs to get a hurry up here. I don't know how long that is left in the session. Mucha Kappa's retired in the session. That can be pretty bad for some people. Hazard has to slow down a little bit as Mucha Kappa's retired car is there. Looks like it's out of the way now, but Hazard definitely afflicted by that one just that little bit. Caleb as well may have been afflicted there, but look how much he's going to just try and fight the car here. Look at it go. We'll see what Caleb can do here. I don't know if the qualifying's finished or not yet, but last person has crossed the line to finish their outlap 3, 2 and 1, and I believe Aiden has not made it to the checker flag. No, he is not. Josh also could not make it to the checker flag in time. He is done. Hazard there behind actually. Kado, I believe that he's going to get a nice tow here as well if he's able to reach the back of that Williams. That Williams is looking pretty nice in a straight line so far. Anyway though, we'll see who actually is behind Hazard here. Rhea Harris, so he'll be definitely on a good lap so far. We'll quickly look at Hazard and go swapping back. Actually, we'll go Kadom really quick to Hazard. Kadom half a second up. Hazard 2.5 tenths up. Rhea Harris is 3 tenths up. So we're going to see what happens. At the minute, Rhea Harris is on track for a P2, but obviously we have not seen what people are doing. Hazard was lost it there. I think I actually thought he was going to for a second. However, there's also a Red Bull actually, who is a lot further ahead of the field here. Is that Brose? I believe it is. He's 3.5 tenths up. My goodness me, I didn't even see this. Brose to the line. What's the time going to be? 31.0. That is quite a target. We'll see what Rhea Harris can do. And some people cross the line. Caitlin goes 10th. Hazard goes 7th. Rhea Harris onto the front row. Rashid Mills is up on his time though, however. Skills Dan is 4 tenths up. He's not really going to go much else, so Blackbone goes up to 4th. Where's our Henson going to go? He's going to go P8. Who else is going to be here? Conway to the line. He's only a couple hundredths up. Let's see where he goes. Big jump in the final sector up to P7. Rashid Mills now, I believe, has taken that front row spot, but he's not taken pole. I believe that goes to Rose there. And a very quick time, all things considered there. Let's have a quick look at it. Yeah, 31-0 from Rose. Brilliant time from him. 31-2 from Sheik there, but those two are going to share the front row. Rhea Harris a little bit distant there, but he is in P3. Blackman are very distant there in P4, though he'll be definitely very happy with that one. Exotic consistently high up on the field, and he's in P5. Whisper P6, a little bit disappointing from him actually. P7 Kodoy, P8 Skills Down, P9 and 10 goes to the Haas boys. Aiden in P11. Kane on P12, Muchakapa P13, Colpillo, Jeremy South, both teammates there sharing 14th and 15th, and Josh, unfortunately, not able to get a lap in there. He's going to start 16th in this race. I think traffic there was quite bad for some people. We did definitely see it on a lap or two. So, unfortunately, it's not going to go too well for some people's qualifying, but some people's races could be just that bit more different, and we'll just have to wait and see on that. As I believe it is 20. God, I'm trying to think. 29 laps here, I think. I'm going to assume everyone's going to start mediums to hards here. I don't think there's going to be any soft tyre running. I think those two will be the de facto tyre that we use. Maybe one stops on the field, but I think this would be alongside Qatar. I think one of the hardest to pull off a one stop. 28 laps, so thank you. But yeah, going to be very hard to pull off a one stop here. I'm going to definitely say hard, medium, medium, or medium, hard, hard, or anything like that could be the strategy. Once again, if you can pull off a one stop, I definitely suggest doing it, but you are going to be facing a lot of tyre wear, and we definitely saw that last race around Monza. But I think people are going to risk it because it has given you a lot of spots up on the field as if you just don't make that second pit stop. However, that is 28 laps away. This is now, and it's the start of BRL Season 12, Round 7 at Kota. And we are underway. Rose looks like he's got a pretty nice start there. Rashik Mir was also having a bit of a wheel spin. Rhea Harris looks like he's under pressure here from Blackburn. We're going to see Blackburn maybe try and challenge into turn one. We've got to make sure he avoids the McLaren up ahead. Looks like Blackburn just manages to avoid any contact there, but he's not going to make any positions up at the start. Exotic in P5 sitting in waiting there too. Hopefully there's going to be no contact here through the S's. Looks like everyone's actually keeping it clean here. Very good stuff actually from everybody there. However, Hazard looks like he's got a little bit of a bad run throughout the rest of this. Just Colpillo trying his best to find any sorts of ways through as well. Skills Dan and Aiden also side by side through this section. That's very bold. However, Aiden just has had a Skills down there as he's forcing them off the track. Looks like there's going to be maybe some moves in the midfield here. Let's see it now. Down the inside of it goes Hazard. Kadam on Josh as well. Kadam looks like he's only just managed to give Josh enough room. And there's also the Aston Martin, Mucho Capo, probably having to fend off both Ferraris so far. Let's see now. Hazard going down here. Looks like there's been another move so far. Let's look at this though. Hazard trying to make a move. Looks like we've got a bit of moving in the background too. Hazard on the inside, Skills down once again. We're watching now. Aiden past Kodoy ahead as well. It's 2x2 here, and probably by a few more twos as well. This Kodoy looks like he's just got ahead there of Aiden. A little bit of a corner cut there. However, Hazard trying his best to keep past Skills down. Looks like Josh tries to go for a little bit of a move there. There's a little bit of contact as well. Kodoy manages to not get the move on Aiden, so he's going to stay behind so far, and it's even more side by side with just Colpillo and Mucho Capo. Hopefully these two don't make any contact into this, so let's see it now. I haven't been brave enough to try and keep it there, but no, Mucho Capo goes a little bit wide, and it's going to be possibly him into last place now. Yeah, Jeremy Saf just gets ahead. He can't put the power down here. He's probably going to maybe fighting for the last place here into turn one. Anyway, though, Josh has already got a bit of a penalty here. It's quite hard to avoid a load of people into track, and there's Kadom having a send of his life into turn one, fighting Josh, and both the Ferraris having a bit of a contact there as well. And Mucho Kappa may try and do something here. I think Colpillo tried letting him back through there. I think he was definitely not a big fan of what happened with him and the contact. However, Josh goes quite wide there. Kadom's going to go through. There's a little bit of contact there. Jeremy Sapp is round, unfortunately. I don't think that really is fair on him, but unfortunately, he is round. I'm so unlucky for him there. Not really the contact that actually should spin you around, but unfortunately, in this game, it is. However, Mucho Capo on the inside of Josh, and maybe in contact there, but nothing yet. And just Colpillo, Jeremy Sapp's teammate, he's going to have quite a nice run here. At least with the way they're fighting, Jeremy Sapp won't lose too much ground, at least in positions. Anyway, though, Skills Dan has blasted past Hazard here, who has managed to find himself quite far away from the DRS at the minute. I'll have a quick look once again at tyres, and once again here, Josh and Mucho Capo side by side again. So, yeah. I was talking about Jeremy Sapp maybe not finding himself too far away from these guys, but I think this could be true here. All I can see there is our Henson on the hard tyres, that is. He's up 2 places, Aiden up 3 on the mediums. So I think Aiden will probably try and set his sights on our Henson in a second, as I think our Henson actually there just dropped out DRS. So Aiden will probably look into it in towards turn 1 or through the sector 2 straight. Caden also has a penalty now, so it's quite hard for people to stay on track at the minute. However, we'll look at the losers here. Kodoy, Skillsan, Hazard, Muja Capo, just copied Jeremy Saf. Mainly because Josh got a great start. However, there's still been a bits of contact here. Down the field, there's even more little touches of the wheel there with Josh and Mucho Capo. But yeah, at the minute, we've just been sort of watching the back of the field here without really seeing everything else. It's all over the place from both of these drivers. I don't know how they've not come into contact yet. Crazy stuff. I think Dirty Air actually through this track is probably one of the worst it could be. Yeah, however though, we're going to have a look at the tyres here. Wisburn on the hard tyres, but he's keeping well with Exotic Sword so far. Henson as well on the hard tyres, but it looks like he's going to have some serious problems behind him here, as I think he's going to get passed here by both Aiden and Kodoy. So his good start might be getting undone for now. Let's watch Aiden on board. Wisburn gets past Exotic Swords. Looks like Aiden's got past our Henson there. No contact between anybody else. Hazard on the hards, goes down the inside. Has he outbraked himself? I think he has, yes. Skills down, goes back through, and I think Hazard will stop back there. Also on the hard tyres. Yeah, both of these guys on the hards. But the Hash Driver actually choosing hard tyres. So I think both of them will be going for a one-stop, I believe, anyway. Kadam also there. I think his damage on his left end plate, and he does. And he's still fighting quite very, very ferociously there with Josh there. Mucha Capo still fighting with Jeremy Saf, not Jeremy Saf, I just can't put it there actually, regardless of if it is for first or for P14. And I think either way here, look at that, they're still fighting for those last points, and it's great to see. Kadam though is into the pit lane for probably a refresh of his front wing. Anyway though, we're going to look a little bit further to ahead of the field. Rose right now leads by a few tenths to Rashik Meals. So I think anything's really changed out in front so far. Ria Harris in third, Blackburn in P4. So top 4 has definitely stayed the same. Obviously, Wisburn has got ahead of Exotic Swords now. So he is down 1 place, but Wisburn is up 1. However, right now it's becoming to be a top 3 once again. I think we're all familiar with right now. Rose, Rashik and Ria Harris here. Actually, during this time, we managed to do a whole stats. I think it was done by our Henson Hazard. Both of their works was sort of made into something, mostly by Henson at the end of things. Obviously, our Henson Hazard did both work on it. It was like a whole stats thing, and it basically tells us who's got what. And I actually have to interrupt myself here as Kodai goes down the inside. Nice move from him, as long as he can't get switched back here. Our Henson's still on the outside, still ahead. Let's see though, is Kodai going to be able to go ahead on the medium tyres? Let's see the grip our Henson's got. He hasn't got enough, and I think Kodai just goes a little bit defensive there. Our Henson is a little bit wide. But, yeah, as I was talking about there, with the help of our Henson and Hazard, or actually mainly with just them, they managed to make a whole stat sheet, and we can basically tell you, I'm going to say the top 3's stats in a minute. So, yeah, they've only joined pretty recently, Rose, Rashik and Ria Harris in comparison to some of the people on here, but we'll have a quick run through of it anyway. Right now, we have Rose, who is doing great for himself. He's only got 1 win so far. He's currently over a 2nd win here, but he is 5 podiums. He's got 2 poles, make that 3, I think, in this race. And he can make that 2 wins and 6 podiums today if he is able to. That'll be pretty nice for him. Rashik Meals as well. This is interesting, actually. Rashik Meals has been immense. Of his 4 podiums, all of them have been wins, and he's had 3 poles as well. He hasn't had the fastest lap, but I think right now that hasn't really cared too much about him. As long as he gets the points for the win, he's happy with that one. He's going to probably look to change that lead of the race now. Let's see here. Will he try and make any sort of move here on Rose? Let's have a look. He's going to think about a move. Rose looks to be under no pressure there. He tried his best to do a fake move there, but Rose was not budging. Our Henson, though, is back up into P8 ahead of Kodai. Has also got ahead of Skills down there. I don't know when he did, or I may have missed it. No idea, but yeah, he is into P10 now. Yeah, we'll fill him in on the last person though, Ria Harris. He has 5 wins, 11 podiums. Once again, right now, can make it 12 podiums now. However, he wants that win, and he's still in DRS of 2 up front. So let's wait and see how well they are going to do. Here in our top three, I think the most successful driver that is racing right now in terms of wins, yeah, it's Rio Harris and Rashik Mills. Both of them have 5 and 4 wins, but everybody else, I think the next highest person on wins who is here is, I believe, our Henson, who has only managed 1 win very early on when we were doing BRL. I think it was back in F1 2021, if I remember correctly. But he has 21 podiums in his name, so it's not like he is pretty inexperienced with the podium. He has been pretty much up there quite a lot of the time. At the minute, though, he is just in P8 right now, and he's unfortunately not been able to match the top 3. But right now, I don't think anyone really is. I think all 3 of them are sort of in a world of their own at the minute. I mean, obviously, Wisburn, the championship leader, and then Rashik and Ria Harris, I believe, are second and third. So you can't really say much else about anybody else not being able to match these guys. However, though, Rashik, let's see what he does now. Will he try and make the move this time? Will Rose let him by? Looks like he's going to. Rashik down the inside there into the lead of this race on lap 6. Obviously, quite a lot of this race to go, but he's not going to mind that one too much. Put the sandwich on as well. Rashik actually has a little bit more battery there than Rose. I think Rose has just been trying to use a lot of it just to stay ahead, as skills down is ahead of Hazard once again. I think these guys are just sort of keep yo-yoing for the minute, and they'll maybe try and tow each other along to try and get to the little pack here of Aiden, Arhenson, and Kodoi. But yeah, everyone's sort of they're sort of spread out a bit, but obviously right now this is without any pit stops at the minute, and I think there's going to be some one-stops here from the top few guys. I believe what they'll do, they'll sit at DRS. They won't lose too much time in comparison to everybody else, not only because of their pace advantage in general, but obviously they're going to have DRS through 2 of these straights, I believe. Yeah, 2 of these straights. So I think they'll probably try and do that anyway. Josh gets a penalty for speeding a pit lane. Now, is this a retirement or is this a planned pit stop? Because I believe it is a planned pit stop. So this is a very early stop actually for Josh. He's going to go onto a set of hard tyres. So we need to serve that sense of penalty again, because I don't think, unlike in Monza, for example, where some people go incredibly long, I think, once again, Mutra Kappa went 19 laps on it was the mediums or hard tyres. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be really possible here. You might see about 12 laps on the mediums maximum, I'm going to say. 12 laps and 16 laps, or 11 laps, 17 laps. But yeah, I'm not thinking we'll see 21 or 22 laps here from Josh, just in my opinion. But anyway, Rose and Rio Harris closing in on Rashik there in a minute. But once again, after this place, there isn't really going to be much chance of a move, and not really many people will even choose to go for a move in Sector 3 until those last laps or 2. You've just got to think about it then and not now, because right now, all it is, they've just got to sort of work together at the minute. They're pulling each other away a little bit from Blackbone, who has got DRS at the minute, who probably has a little bit more tyre trying to catch up with them all, and all these guys can just benefit, maybe a little bit of battery too even, because once again, they have DRS. They don't really need to worry too much about their battery, as long as they can actually keep in DRS. I mean, if they do the bare minimum to keep in there, and they should be completely fine. And, oh, hold on a minute, I was going to say maybe no fighting, but Rashik with a little bit of a late move there, but it looks all okay to me. Gets a bit leery on the exit though. Let's see now, Rose very close up to him. However, nothing much going to happen here in Sector 1. Once again, if you're very brave, you can maybe try side by side in Sector 1, but you not only have to trust the person next to you, you're going to have to trust yourself to not make contact either. So it's an incredibly risky thing. You'll probably only ever see it on the last lap, and even then, that is a stretch and a half you're going to see on the last lap. And I doubt it's going to happen. In all honesty, I doubt it. Maybe in lap 1, I think we did actually see 1 or 2 people side by side there, but yeah, not after lap 1, and very rarely on the last lap. So, anyway though, we're going to see Rose here make a pretty easy pass, I believe, on Rashik for lead the race. Rashik, interestingly though, he's using batteries, so I think two of the drivers here, Rose actually goes a little bit early on the brakes there, and it looks like Rose, well, maybe only just giving Rashik enough room there, but Rashik is trying to actually keep it here. I mean, I was going to say about Sector 3 not being too much to worry about for moves, but look at this! Rashik up the inside of Rose. This is brilliant stuff. Rose having a little bit of a switch back there, a little bit of contact as well, as Rashik really shuffles him to the outside. That is a move when you're going through Sector 3. That is what you should be doing if you want to make sure the person second has got no chance of overtaking you. Shuffling them wide loses them tense. And even though sometimes the line suggests you to go there, it is not the line to take, I think. The extreme inside is what you should be taking. However, Rose into the pit lane. Interestingly, only on lap 9. So I think this is a two-stop here. Let's have a look. Is he going to another set of mediums? No, a set of hards. So, Rose probably believe his tyre bed's too high. So I think we're going to see someone going for a two-stop who is high up the field here, like really high up. So obviously, Rose taking pole, he's committing to this two-stop, and I'm going to be all the more looking forward to see it. Let's see where he's properly filtered out. Looks like between Hazard and Skills Dan. I believe Skills Dan will have to sort of make way for him, as of Hazard as well. But it depends on how quickly Rose catches up here, because look at him go. He's already gaining quite a lot on these guys, even on some cold hard tyres right now. I think it's pretty clear to see that with clear air, or at least a little bit of clear air, but the fresh tyres what makes it in a minute. Let's see actually, does Rhea Harris there just drop out of DRS? I believe he has, yes. Rhea Harris out of DRS already. Rose though is at DRS with Hazard. I don't know if he got it, I don't know if he got the section point, I don't think he has. No, he's not. But Hazard there, looks like he's actually trying to use a little bit of it. But Rose realises just how imperative it is to get past some of these guys. He's going to send one on Hazard here into P10. Kodoy, would he try and let his teammate by here now? Let's have a quick look. Kodoy does so. Kodoy with a little bit of team games there. And he manages to stay ahead of Hazard as well. So it's really nice stuff there from Kodoy, actually. Planned or not, that was great from him and Rose there. Brilliant stuff. There's Hazard there, still trying to maybe make a move. Having the ERS on here through turn 17, which is pretty brave. However, I don't think it's really going to happen here for Hazard here. Yeah, not really going to happen too much. And anyway, though, Kodoy isn't coming to the pit lane, so he's done his job. Maybe held on a few people, and he's got Rose by, but he's not done his job when slowing down. He's going to get a 10-second penalty, and Rose there goes past Skills Dan into P8. Now, he needs to catch up to Henson, and I think probably in a lap's time he'll do that. I think the pace difference with some older and fresher tyres is just that much, I believe. I think by the time it's lap 11, we'll see him on the first straight starting into sector 1. We'll see Rose probably start getting ahead of a few of these guys. However, though, at the minute, did I just catch that on board? Don't know what happened. No, it was not. I thought it was Aiden there having a big spin. I think he's only just managed to save it, and I saw a yellow flag. No, it was Kadon down the back of the field. I think he's got no damage, I believe. But Kadon down the back of the field giving me a little bit of a heart attack there as I thought Aiden. I really thought he just absolutely span the car proper. However, I think Rose now will have to compete with Aiden, not with our Henson here, as our Henson breezes past Aiden in a minute. Only just manages to get ahead when going into the braking zone. That's been an extra half a second that Rose cannot make up no matter what he does. But yeah, look at this. So Aiden really drifting through these corners now, struggling on these medium tyres. And I think the hard tyres are coming into their own a little bit here, as they're just getting that little bit quicker in the mediums so far. Wisburn here catch up to Blackbone too, as Wisburn I think was a little bit far behind at first, but he's going to start creeping into that DRS window so far. Rhea Harris into the pit lane. So I think this all depends on what tyres he goes on. Is it hard tyres? Let's have a look. It is hard tyres. I said 17 laps, so I think these could go for a one-stop distance. However, he's already lost a lot of time to Rose. Let's have a look. He's already going through towards turn 1. Where is Rhea Harris and all of this? Will he be passed by Hazard and Cold Pillar? Let's have a look into turn 1 here. Looks like he's going to get just in between the pair of them here, and Hazard will only just get ahead into sector 1. However, Rhea Harris will try and be a little bit impatient here. He's going to try and go for it in sector 1. Let's see it only just make it through. And Hazard there probably really spooked by that one. Didn't think he was going to do it. However, Rhea Harris needs to go places with these tyres in these first few laps, because Rose is so far ahead already. He's already making moves here on Aiden, and he's calculated that one pretty well, I think, because some people may think, why not stay behind in a DRS window? No, he's going to get DRS on our Henson as he's within a second of him too. Our Henson will be trying to do a little bit of defending here, because I think he's going to be on a one-stop in this race. I think Bohas has been very used to trying a one-stop in these races so far, so I believe they'll do the exact same here. Rhea Harris, so past Skills Dan. Nothing for him to do there. But anyway, looks like Rhea Harris got about 4 seconds to make up there, and he's also got a few cars to navigate too. But that doesn't mean Rose's also out of it so far. Exotic Swords here is going to be doing a little bit of defensive work for himself, I believe, because I think he's going to go on one stop too. So if Rose is on that 2 stop, Then he's going to need to clear these guys just how he does with any normal person here. And Exotic is going to still be a little bit slow here. A little bit slower than he wants, but no, Exotic peels into the pits. Rosie is going to get DRS down this straight though, however, so we'll at least benefit from that. But, yeah, these guys ahead, I think they're probably struggling a lot of tyre wear now, but they just want to make sure they can pull off this one stop. As long as they don't have their mediums split open on them, they are going to be all okay in the end of it. However, yeah, Exotic Swords is depending on a set of hards, one stop for him. Aiden, I think, also be a one stop for him too. So, yeah, surprisingly enough, I was saying this would be very hard for some people to go and do stuff, but no. Looks like everything else is going to be completely fine. I've also not even talked about this actually, because I didn't even realise. Interestingly enough, we've got two sets of McLaren cars out there in a minute. We have Rashik Meals, who is in the base McLaren livery for this season, but Skills Dan in the chrome McLaren here, as we see Rio Harrison making a move on our Henson. I think Rio Harrison got a DRS there too. Let's have a look. I believe he is. Yes, he is. So our Henson probably sit back there. Just watch the Alpine fly past. If he wants to get DRS, he can try it on the next few straights. But now, there's the gap. 3.5 seconds there between Rose and Rio Harris, and that will be something that needs to be caught up there by the Alpine driver. But, yeah, anyway, let's have a quick look at these guys. Skills Dan and Rashik Mills using separate McLaren liveries for now. Not going to try and find the differences between them, because, I mean, you can probably clearly see them. One's chrome, one is not. Maybe a few spots changes as well, but I'm not going to go that far. We're not going to get that board in this race, hopefully. But Whistling right now was going to go right in the back of Blackbone there. However, he's gone right into the wall. So he's done that whole race just to put it into the wall. There could be any sort of safety car, virtual car here, but no, he's been treated badly by the game there. Probably as a punishment for breaking his wing. That whole first stint from Blackbone just to shove it into the wall to pit entry. I think some people are going to be very happy with that. I think namely our Henson, because both of these two love a bit of a fight on here. And there's a yellow flag actually. Cole Pillow's done the same thing. My goodness, we've had a Ferrari in qualifying, and now we have both Blackman and Cole Pillow in the race. He's got a 10-second penalty as well. These these older tyres are actually catching people out coming into the pit lane. This is crazy. I did not think it was going to be this bad. However, Blackburn is going to rejoin this in 12th place. He's going to... Oh, actually, hold on a minute. There is Is that a full-course safety car? I believe it is a full-course safety car. Oh, my goodness me. So this is going to really help some people potentially in this race. I don't know. Because everybody currently is on hard tyres. If you have not stopped... I mean, Jemmy said they're going on to a set of mediums. But if you've not stopped... You're going to now have to start panicking maybe a little bit here, because these mediums, we've seen them go 12 laps, but you're going to have a few laps on the safety car and you're going to be really pushing them by the end of this race. And I think some people might be happy about this, some people might not be. Whisper might be very happy about this, as long as he can make sure he nurses tyres. Henson, Skills Dan, Hazard as well, all of them should be quite happy. However, a few people might not be happy here. Rashik Meals definitely should not be one that's happy. Blackburn, I was going to say he's one that shouldn't be happy there either, but I think actually he was partially the cause to this safety car, Compillo 2. But maybe these guys are happy, I don't know, because Blackburn actually can now have a chance to catch up to everybody here. However, what we're going to need to look an eye on now is pit lane. Obviously, Whisper's going to come in. Is he going to go on a set of mediums or a set of softs? Because it depends now what he might do to the end of the race. Is he just going to choose the easier option here, which I believe could be, well, what I believe anyway is the easier option, which is a set of softs into a medium. Could be mediums on a set of softs, but Wisburn is on a set of mediums. Rosa, interestingly, boxes as well, so he'll definitely want to get rid of them tyres. Henson looks like he's in box as well. I think a load of people are going to box in this safety car. They want them fresh tyres. So I think Haas have done a pretty good job once again. Maybe trying to get a one-stop work. Only just managed to get there for Hazard in time, and I believe... maybe some people might stay out here, actually. Yeah, no, Exotic Sword stays out. Aina, I believe, stays out as well. They only actually pit there on 2 laps of hard tyres. So either way, they can save some of their race here and save some of the wear. That's going to be very close between Hazard and Blackbone. Blackbone, frustratingly for him, he's moving behind both Haas cars there. Just Josh there, going to serve his sense of penalty here, and he'll be on the set of mediums. Which Capo is going to stay out. Compillo also going to come into the pit lane, serve his 10-second penalty, and go on to another set of hard tyres, interestingly. So he actually has managed to plan for this, maybe going for a second set of hards, unless they're very worn. Let's have a quick look at this. No, completely fresh hard to him, so nothing too bad actually. And now, yeah, Rose probably not very happy with that one. However, he knows how he can get to the end of the race. That's the main thing here. Obviously, he was fighting Rhea Harris, who is now actually in the lead, so that is actually really hurt him. Wisburn also fresher tyres, or quicker tyres, sorry. But he might be really struggling by the end of this race. We don't know. Rashid also getting ahead of Rose there, but the main thing here is that he's at least made that other stop work without the 30, near on 30-second deficit when pitting in this pit lane. Henson, I think the big winner here. I think it was quite obvious. Stuck it out on these tyres. Obviously, will probably feel the tyre wear by the end of this race, but I think it's pretty easy to say he's the big winner here. Rhea Harris too, but he did stay out, so maybe he wants to get a little bit of tyre wear can hit him at the end of the race. I don't know. Wisburn actually another main winner there because everyone else boxed behind him. He's up P2. And probably out of everyone here has got the best chance to make a jump for the lead of the race. And if he has clear air, he could potentially, only potentially, manage to hold on to it with their medium tyres. Or even break away from DRS, we don't know yet. But I think Wisburn, Henson, maybe even Rashik, I think. But I think, yeah, he was probably top three regardless here. Kodoi comes into the pitch, he's got a penalty for ignoring a yellow flag, interestingly enough. So regardless, he's going to serve that one. I don't know what happened, but yeah, he's going to serve that penalty. And I think either way here, he'll be behind. He might have been behind Jeremy Sapp. I don't know. Is Jeremy Sapp going to come into the pit lane? Yeah, he's going to stay out. Cole I think he's going to be ahead of him regardless. I hope he's going to be anyway, because otherwise he's not going to be very happy with that one. I think Jeremy Sapp, yeah, he would have been probably ahead of Kodoi, but yeah, he's definitely not going to be ahead of Cade on there. Unfortunately for Kodoi, and Kodoi might also lose out to Cold Pillar. Let's have a look. We're going to see now, it's very close, but Cold Pillar takes it. So Kodoi with a 10-second penalty, I don't know how he got. He's lost. Unfortunately for him, and he's still got another 10. How's he got another 10-second penalty? Hold on a minute, let me have a look at this. He exceeded track limits, he did get a penalty. Actually, let me just go on to his race sector usually here. This is some crazy stuff. 10-second penalty in, I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe, I don't know, spend the pit lane? Maybe have a look. Let me just try and go to the very end of this. Have a look. So you got 10 seconds for ignoring a yellow flag. Speeding the pit lane. He had two 10-second penalties there, unfortunately for him. So he's been really ruining this race so far. He's going to need to make another pit stop realistically, or just have to live with that 13-second penalty. So far, though, I think just while we're here, here's all the instances you want to go and use them as any sort of reporting footage. I'll try and remember this for the end of the race, but I don't know if I will. There you all go. However, said car is within this lap, so now anyway, that will be going off the screen, and I might try and get out for the end of the race if I can remember it. So then, let's see some racing, hopefully. We've got a little bit of a mixed grid in the midfield here, and I think Rhea Harris has to hurry up a little bit here, obviously. We do so that 50-mile-an-hour rule, and I think he's trying to do that now. I think in that section of the track especially, it limits you, I believe, because it goes so slowly from centre car there anyway, and I think it's quite hard for him to actually step on the throttle most of the time. However, he stepped on the throttle pretty well there, and has left Wisburn a little bit waiting there. There's Rashid Niels though, however, he is on it, and he's going to maybe try and go for any sort of move on Wisburn here if he can get the right exit. He does not. Rhea Harris immediately breaks toe, and we are back under racing there. Look at that, everyone trying to say hello, go out of the racing line there. However, looks like there's been no moves really made into turn one so far. Maybe it's a little bit half move there from Josh. He might actually try and make that move here. Let's see, ooh, a little bit of touching with the tyres there. I think that was maybe going to set Mucha Capo's car off the track, but nothing so far from anyone here. No contact, which is brilliant news. And while it's been no moves, I think it's pretty good so far. Yeah, flag signals at the freeze, so I believe that is broken. Let me just quickly pause on pause. No, doesn't seem to fix it. Unfortunate there. However, there's still fights going on, obviously. Josh and Mucha Capo still side by side again. I mean, I don't want to look away from these two, but look at them go. It's crazy how they're doing it. Ooh, a little bit of contact there between the pair of them there, as I think Kodai also got past Cold Pillow, and they're side by side on the exit there too. Any moves to be made for the lead in this race? I don't think there's going to be any at all. Let's have a quick look though. Down the back of the pack, any more moves to be made? Perhaps. Don't believe there will be, but that's a little bit closer between Kadon and the back of Jeremy Saf. Yeah, nothing to really to report, I believe. Looked like a pretty clean first lap. Maybe a little bit of fight between Josh and Mr. Capo. I think a little bit of fights with Colpillo and Kodoi too. However, a pretty calm safety car restart. I think it's not been too bad for everybody here. But Hazard, well, trying to make it a little bit less calm, using a lot of battery there, trying to make a move on Skills Dan. Nothing is going to happen out of that one in the end. But Skills Dan maybe goes a little bit deep there into the final corner. Not too deep, but maybe a little bit here to maybe warrant Hazard trying to make a move. Let's have a look now. He's got far less battery, I think, than Skills Dan. Will he try it anyway? He's not going to be able to from that far back. However, Jemmy Saf looks like he's going to get ahead of Mucha Capo. Kadam on the inside as well. So make sure to make any contact with the Aston Martin. Mucha Capo gets a bad exit again. And I think he's just going to hold on this position so far. Kadam on the outside. Would he be expected to give him space? No, backs off. But that's a really poor run through there. Kadam has to probably take a warning for that one. Unfortunately for him, he's going to need to get himself back on his feet again this race. Blackman picks up penalty as well, a little bit further down the field, probably struggling in the dirty air. He definitely is not been used to that for most of his stint, but he's now really struggling there with some warnings and with just general turning while you're here. Anyway, though, Skills Dan looks like he's got past Aiden actually into the hairpin there, and let's have a look. He's got DRS too, so maybe we'll actually be able to stay ahead here. Look at this, like Rhea Harris and Wisberg side by side. Looks like Rhea Harris is only just leaving him enough space, and it's looking good here so far. Wisberg gets the traction at the exit. Rhea Harris trying to go round the outside again. Wisberg still down on the inside. Great stuff so far. Rashik also waiting in the background there. Let's see, is there any sort of switch back here from Whisper? No, he's going to try and go on the outside. He's going to run out of road, but he's still there on the inside. This could be great for Whisper, actually. A little bit of contact there as well. A little bit of a side pod contact between them both. And let's see, Ivan going to blink in. No, they're not side by side. Into turn 19, I believe this is. And then turn 20 final call. They're still side by side. Crazy stuff from the bed. I think, obviously, some people are going to fight that one and say, look, no, I was not really trying to push you off. I was trying to leave room. And right now, Rhea Harris is going to fight even more here with Rashik. Rose on the inside of Whisper now. Whisper really struggling, trying to go from the lead of the race here. He's fallen down to fourth. That's going to close up the whole field behind here. Exotic in DRS now. Henson DRS. Skills Dan in DRS. Everyone here in the train of the top three. And it's crazy to see that fight going out there. Don't know how they stay side by side into sector 3. But amazing they've actually kept that all somewhat clean at the very minimum. It's something though, however, picking up a penalty there and even struggling more on the exit, I think there, that was, as he's probably got by Henson, maybe trying to make a move on him if he's not careful. However, this is great so far. Kodo picks up a penalty at the back of the field, but I think all the attention now is going to turn to the front of the grid. Rashid Mills is going to make a very early move on Rhea Harris. Look at him though, being shuffled to the left of the track, really not where he wants to be, but however, he's going to take the lead there. No more fight back there from anybody, really, into that turn. It looks like there's also maybe potential moves being made here between Exotic Swords and Henson. Both of them getting quite close to each other. However, nothing doing at the minute for them. Henson's getting closer, though, so potentially could be a send at some point soon. Wisman, I think, is a big loser here. Obviously, he's challenging for the lead, but now he's also at DRS, actually. This is crazy. I don't know. He needs to make sure he's in there. Let's have a quick look. He's maybe only just going to get in there. I don't know. I think he has. But that is very critical, actually, for Wisman. He's saved a lot of battery, at least. But, yeah, already struggling a little bit, I think, on the medium tyres. I don't know what's going on. He might just not be liking them a minute through that third sector. But Wisman is the DRS for now. And anybody else is also pretty much certain DRS, other than I can't even spell his name. Can't even say his name. Sorry. But anyway, though, Blackburn and Josh fighting behind as Hasselhoff tries making moves there too. But Blackburn gets ahead of Josh at the minute. Mucha Kappa looks like he's also having to try and get ahead of Kadon here, but nothing is happening for them. Josh just saw that one go off the track. He's going to get a penalty there too. Yeah, other than that, glad for some people here to be missing penalties, because look at this. I mean, if you're someone like Koda, for example, you'd be really ruining this race, because just a few seconds of penalties being taken off your race time would mean so much. Obviously, you probably got a penalty for speeding there and a penalty for yellow flags. Not sure how that one happened, but yeah, unfortunate for him at the end of things. Right now, though, Rashid Mills still being chased by Rhea Harris. Looks like Rhea Harris is trying to get some pretty nice traction out of some of these corners. I think it's going to happen for him. Hazard, though, looks like he's trying to make a move on Aiden now. I don't know, maybe one the other way round. But Hazard cannot make it work at the very minimum of what I saw. Aiden having a big snap there, and he's really holding up Hazard there at the minute. I think he's on 6 second penalty, so he's struggling too. Josh having a little tap at the back of that Haas car, and Blackburn goes back through now. So maybe Josh will make a send work. He's just been caught out by the cars ahead of him. At least hoping that won't be reported for his sake. However, he's not looking too bad so far in this race. I mean, he's got a lot of penalties. However, yeah, sometimes it's pretty bad when you're on the warnings in this race. And sometimes you just care about where you finish instead of where you're then put past penalties. However, Blackburn now is trying to move on Hazard. We're going to go on the T-cam of Blackburn. He's going to make a little bit of contact there between Hazard. He goes wide. Hazard is going to have to maybe try and think about Josh behind him. Let's have a quick look here. Hazard just managed to stay ahead of Josh at the minute, but he's been passed by Blackburn, and now it's a Sauber duo right together again, P8 and P9. Whisperman here, falling out of DRS, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe trying to conserve his beams to the end, because obviously everybody else in the top 3 here, on hard tyres, they can go to the end most likely. But Whisperman on the mediums is just struggling, really. I mean, they put more on lap 14, I believe, so yeah, I mean, if they're only about like 30% or something like that, then he'll have a really hard time making it to the end of the race. He'll only just potentially make it to the end of the race. But yeah, he's really probably trying to make sure those tyres last. Anyway, Blackbone with the most awful camera ever and another awful camera. He's on a charge at least, and he's gone past Aiden there, his teammate, up into P8. But at the minute, I don't think he's going to be making too many moves, at least for the next few laps. So this teammate comes back at him, which could be happening in a minute, because obviously Blackman and Aiden pretty much on the same tyres with the same amount of laps, and Hazard's in the back there maybe trying to wait for a move too, but right now I could probably say he's struggling a little bit for that grip. He's definitely losing a bit of time here to Aiden and Blackbone. Still in the DRS range at the minute, but right now it is a bit of a struggle town for him. Anyway though, Rashik Mills still leads out in front so far, and he's almost broken DRS there to Ria Harris. Rose also in the back there, still lurking around, so no matter what the minute, with the freshest tyres at the minute of the 3, he's at least trying his best to stay in the fight. However, he's going to need to clear Ria Harris at some pace soon, because right now, I think as soon as he falls out of DRS, Ria Harris, if he does, then he's going to really need some sort of towing from somewhere else. And I think this will be the chance for Rose to go and do it. He has got DRS now. Let's watch Rose's on board. He needs to get a good exit here if he wants to try and make any sort of moves. Ria Harris trying to flash the back of his light there, trying to recharge any sort of battery. I think Rose knows now it needs to be now, because Ria Harris has not got any DRS there, and Rose chooses now he needs to be up into P2, and he needs to be a little bit closer there to Rashik, and maybe he can show a bit more of his own pace if he's outside of that one. And I think there's a bit of contact actually down the field. I think Cold Pillow and Kadon, both of them have had a bit of a coming together. Not too sure what's happened, but they're also yellow down the rear of the field. I don't know what's happened at all, but making some contact there. I don't know if there was any actual front wings off. Let's have a look. Kodoi looks to be okay. Mucho Capo 2, I believe. Cold Pillow looks to be okay. Kadon looks to be okay as well. I think they're all alright. Maybe just a spin or something very bad for him. Anyway though, Rose, he's out of DRS. So yeah, really unfortunate stuff actually here, because Ria Harris now may try and go for a move here, but I don't believe he will. I think he's too far back to make any sort of moves here. He was using a bit of battery, just make sure he stays inside the DRS window, but yeah, nothing in a minute isn't happening. There's even more penalties being handed out here. We're actually going to turn it to the penalties. He's hunting swords with 9 seconds there at the minute. Blackbone with 3, Aiden with 6, Josh with 15. I think actually he was maybe trying to make a move there on Hazard, but Hazard has had a bit of a staunch defence there. He's not going to get any sort of places there, Josh, and he's going to be maybe able to threat here from Jemmy South. And 6 seconds of penalties. Muchikapo on 3, Kodoi on 19. He's had a miserable race so far. Obviously, he had another 10-second penalty that he had to save. He had to serve, sorry, not save. But yeah, 6 seconds Cold Pillow, 6 seconds of Kadon. It's not been great for him. However, Rashik Mills at the minute, he's got no battery, and these guys behind do have DRS, but they also don't really have much battery. But that DRS benefit alone is worth a lot of straight line speed. You can see it here, and that was about 4 tenths gain, even with Rashik trying to break the toe there. In the end of things, though, he's not been passed. Skillsan, though, is past R. Henson there, and there's even further bits going wrong with the back here. There's actual contact this time. Cold Pillow and Mucho Cap. I don't know what's happened, but there is definitely a bit of debris on the track there. I think some people will not be very happy with that one. I think I'll say it was Cold Pillar maybe with the issue, because there was definitely an end plate or something down there. definitely on the track. Let's have a quick look here as Cold Pillar turns in. Yeah, the front right end plate of his car is not on. I'm not sure how, but if I had to guess, contact Mucho Capo there is pretty good guess there, I believe. And right now, not really much else going on. Obviously, people are still trying to make their stuff work, but I don't know about these guys on the medium tyres. I think they'll be really suffering on the fronts. They'll be a little less on the rears, I want to say, but yeah, on the front tyres, I think they'll be having some big issues right now. I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't really choose the harder tyre set, to be honest. I mean, obviously, it might be something some people think about, but yeah, 2 sets of hards here, so much more valuable than 2 sets of mediums. And Cold Pillar is retiring in from the session. He is going to be out of it now, and I don't really blame him there. Having 2 sets of contact there in very little time, and unfortunately for him, he is done. Left session, he is gone. However, right now, we may turn our attention to the front of the field here, ladies and gentlemen, because Rashik is getting more and more under pressure here from Rose. Because even with Rose's strategy being somewhat killed off, I guess, from what he was saying, he's not doing too bad at the minute. And right now, our Henson, who got past Skills Dan, right now looks to be still just ahead. And Blackbone might be coming to his rescue here as Blackbone just managed to make it with Skills Dan. Let's watch him from the back of our Henson here, looking pretty good actually from the pair of them. But Blackbone sailed by, lovely stuff. However, he's got a little bit of a twitch on the rear end of his car. Skills Dan maybe trying to find any sort of ways behind. That's Blackbone almost having a much bigger twitch and maybe a spin round. But Skills Dan goes past, and Blackbone somehow not facing the wrong way yet, so he's still ahead. But he's still ahead of his teammate. I think that's the main thing to say. However, he's still trying to make some moves here at the minute. I mean, Blackbone right on the back here now. Once again, as Skills Dan, he's going to try to make the move again. Let's have a look at this here. Down the inside, looks like there's going to be no sort of defensive Skills Dan this time. Yeah, Blackbone here up into P7 with Skills on trying to switch back. I think he was, but he didn't really get the exit that he wanted there, unfortunately for him. And he's going to start to sit behind that turbulent there once again. But now this time from Blackbone, not from our Henson. I think it's just really making people struggle here. Look at it. It's not really doing him any favours at all. And he's just struggling to point the car in a correct direction. I think it's really difficult for him. He's already out of DRS. Crazy stuff. Blackbone, however, he's really doing well on the hard tyres there with some pace. And meanwhile, while I was saying that, Rose's picked on penalty, but I think he's going to still fight for the lead regardless here. Let's have a look. Rashik Meals looks like pretty much home and clear now, if that's the case. As long as he needs to keep it on track, and as long as he keeps ahead of Rhea Harris, which I think he can do, there's a car between them both. Let's have a look though anyway, as Blackbone is past our Henson now, with very little battery to spare, but he is past. He's also got a penalty to try and bridge. So Blackbone will be on a little bit of a mission here, trying to clear that gap, or just hoping that our Henson has some problems with track limits by the end of it. Let's have a quick look though, as he's going through his turns. I mean, I think there's also tyre wear coming into play, but yeah, I think the guys on medium tyres right now are not looking too good whatsoever here. I hate to see battery through here too, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I think it's a decent place to use battery, but it is very easy to make your rear tyres just basically just go off. Cam's left the session, but that is looking like a disconnect to me, as usually will leave the session when he retires. I think, yeah, he has disconnected there. He's not online on the Forensics anymore. However, this should come back to this, as Josh actually, now when he comes to the pit lane, and Rhea Harris picks up penalty as well. This looks to be pretty much all done now for Rashik. Let's have a look what his warnings are. Let's have a look. He does have 2 warnings. I don't know if this is for track limits. Let's have a quick look. Rashik Meals, where is he on here? Let's have a look. Rashik Meals, 1 for exceeding track limits. Says, where is the other one? Another for exceeding track limits. So he's not really home and dry yet. He's still got a fight with Rose a little bit. I think he knows it just in case he gets that penalty. He wants to be the one ahead, come the checker flag. Regardless of what the penalties are saying, he's going to try and go for a move down Rose. Rashik has a big lock-up on his front tyres though. So there was a bit of pressure felt there from the McLaren. However, he's not really lost place there. He's made the apex still pretty decently. He's just probably got a lot of wear on that front left tyre from that. Skills Dan though, past our Henson as well, as our Henson maybe trying to go for a cutback here. Actually, this is the one time where the camera is useful. Let's have a look. Our Henson may try and go on the inside here. Let's have a look. As he's trying to line it up for the next section of corners. I think he's a bit too far back here. Yeah, 3/10. Very hard to make a dive bomb work from there and have it also be clean. So, right now, Rio Harris out of DRS. He is probably a contender who is least likely to be in the fight for the win now. Rose and Rashik Meals. Rashik technically is the other hand, but any sort of things that go wrong for him for a track limit, and it could be bad. It could be really bad for him at the end of things. I'll quickly have a double check this in Kadom's online again. Or maybe I'll quickly invite his account that is not online. Let's have a quick look. I'm not sure why he disconnected in the end, but we'll invite his account that's not online. I don't know why it is not. But there we go. Anyway, look, Skills Sound got past our heads and all of that, so that is brilliant. I just missed everything that I wanted to try and miss there. So, brilliant stuff in this game, and its collection services. I love that. However, yeah, Skills Sound and our heads are still very close to each other. Our heads need to make sure he does not get anything else happening to him with warnings, otherwise that will kill his race off too. Right now, though, however, Rashik Meals is still looking to try and defend from Rose. Rose isn't using battery right now, which I'd say is kind of interesting. I feel like what Rose should do is get ahead and hope the turbulent air disturbs Rashik enough, because at this point, if he can't get the win on track with that penalty, he might as well at least try to disturb him enough so he has a chance to get the win on penalties. That's what I'm going to say. I think at least that'll be what I'm thinking in my brain, but obviously some people will think differently, and our Henson there is ahead of Skills and Jerry Sapp also gets ahead of Hazard there, but he obviously has that 6-second penalty, so that will be him up a few places. Actually, now I say this as well, Blackburn pulled away pretty substantially from these guys, and he's on the back of Exotic and Whisper now. Whisburn has been really trying to manage his mediums, and I think he's done pretty damn well of it. Obviously, oh, hold on a minute, let me cut back to this here. As Rashik Meals is under pressure again from Rose. I don't think there's going to be any moves there. But yeah, I think Whisburn here really trying to make sure his medium's kept in check. I think our Henson and Skills Dan just fighting for each other here, because obviously both P7, P8, they want their own points. They don't have penalties to worry about at the minute. So I think they'll be all okay. Aiden, though, really lurking in the background. The Skills Dan almost chops his front wing off there. Maybe takes out our Henson, but no, not so far. Anyway, and we're going to now watch to Rashik Meals and Rose. I think this will be where Rose makes a move, and I feel it's what he should be doing. I think he should just try and make him disrupted of that very clean air that he usually is in the whole time. Maybe get him just to mess up that one little slip. Let's see if Rose's going to do it. I'm surprised he's not dumping the battery, Rose. What are we doing? I'm not sure what's going on here, but he's not dumping the battery for not one lap. He might try and save for the last lap here. But that, I don't think it's going to work here from Rose. I think, you know, I feel like he just needs to go for it, really, because otherwise he's not going to have any chance of really flustering Rashik, unless it's some really bad move made by him. But however, speaking of moves, Blackbone up into P5. This is a great race from him, all things considered. However, he does have that 3-second penalty. But right now, that won't matter to him. He's still going to probably finish P5 in this race. So, brilliant job to him, actually, with the pace he's shown. And he might be trying to make a move on Whisburn here by the end of it. Skills Dan and our heads are still fighting here into Sector 3. I think they've definitely forgotten about Blackbone by now, and he is just going to try his best. Both our hands and Skills stand there to maybe even fend off Aiden at the minute, because I don't think they want him in the fight. Anyway, though, Rashik Meals is clear of Rose on the first DRS section. I don't think this is what Rose should have done, in all honesty. For the last lap, I think it should have been pressure on Rashik, trying to make sure he doesn't get that warning, but right now, he's got a bit less pressure on him. He's not got any real things to disturb him when he's out in front. He has Rose, but right now, all he needs to tell himself is that he has 3 seconds. That's it. That's all we got to do. Just keep yourself calm. If you have that direct, yeah, it could have been so much better to put pressure on him. But no, Rose decides to stick back and wait till Sector 2. But right now, some people aren't even waiting to do that. Rashik, his teammate Skills Dan, really under pressure here from Aiden. But right now, we're going to turn it back to the front of the field. Rose now dumping the battery. Rashik is as well. Rose's got DRS. Will it be a send and a half from Rose? Let's see it now. Another move there from Rashik, but it looks like all good. And we're going to see Rose down the inside. There's no true attack back from Rashik now. And I think he now knows this is it. Rose looks to be completely fine now to run back to the finish line, but Rashik is trying his best to go back on the inside here of Rose. Maybe he thinks there could be a warning move from Rose. I don't know. However, it looks like he's been okay. And further back though, we're going to see these guys. Look at this, Whisper and Blackbone. I think also having a real good scrap here. We're going to try and make sure we go to the end of this race looking at the top 2. And we're going to now. Rose is going to take the win on track. Only provisionally though. But Rashik Meals is your winner right now. And we're going to see Rhea Harris come onto the podium there. Whisburn It will actually manage to stay ahead of Blackburn after all of that. And Exotic Swords managed to get ahead of Blackburn now. Let's see now. Will Blackburn try to make a send on the inside? This is a bit unnecessary from the Sabre driver. A little bit of contact between the two. But Blackburn finishes in P6. Exotic and P... Oh no, Blackburn finishes in P5, sorry. Exotic in P6. Aiden just gets ahead of Skills Dan. But Skills Dan just manages to get back ahead of him. Obviously had that penalty as well. But Henson in P6, Skills Dan in P7, Exotic P8, A and P9. Hazard gets ahead of Jeremy South with his penalties that he had. Kodo probably dropped down a lot of places, as with Josh. But at least for them, they are not been disqualified from this race. It's the only thing you could really give them credit for here. So yeah, neither of them been disqualified. Mujikapa will probably pick up a few more points for himself. I believe that's P12 there. Kadon will finish at the points at P15 overall. And not a bad race by the end of it, but I think a bit of a lack of... overall racing in those last sections. I mean, obviously kicked off in the last few laps, but yeah, I thought to see just some easy DRS passes now, especially with the differences of hards and mediums there. I really thought we were going to get some nice fights. However, though, Rashik provisionally takes the win of this race. Rose in P2, Rhea Harris in P3. Driver data goes to Mucho Capo, apparently. I'm not too sure on that one. Probably deserved it last week, and definitely good. They definitely did get it last week, actually. But right now, I don't believe so. But yeah, that's your top three. Rashik also picks up fastest up there and another win to his name. So that is 5 wins and 5 podiums, I believe that is. Wisburn, though, just finishing outside the podium, and Rose and Rhea Harris picking up the other 2 spots on said podium. Blackbone finishes in P5. Brilliant race from him, actually, I would say. R. Henson in P6. Skills Dan, one who fought with him pretty much the whole time there with R. Henson. He's in P7. Exotic Swords there was ahead of both, but dropped down quite a lot of his penalties in P8. Aiden also got ahead of Skills Dan, I think, almost at the line, but no, he goes down to P9. Hazard rounds out our top 10 without a penalty. Jeremy Samphick was ahead of him, but he is dropped down to P11. Mucho Capo is unfortunately P12. Kodoi P13 as well. Bit unfortunate for both of them. I think they definitely want some better results. Josh rounds out our points. Kadon in P15, and just got put with the contact that he had earlier on this race. DNFs and retires after the bit of wing damage. Not too bad of a race. I'm going to try and see if I can sort of fill this out really quickly. Hopefully being able to give you everything I want right now about who's where in the championship. I believe Wisbon will probably still be pretty good out in front, even though he only finished P4. So definitely a slight jump up in form from his previous win in second place, but I don't think he cares all that much, in all honesty, because he's just quite far ahead at the minute. Anyway, we'll have a quick look now, and I believe everything is all correct. Maybe just need to add a plus that point there very quickly, and we're going to have a quick look now, just while we're all here. Right, let's have a quick look. McLaren take the lead of the Constructors' Championship by 12 points to Williams, who's actually, I think, still just got points from Wisburn. Haas are in P3, but I think they gained a tiny bit to Williams, or at least maintain their gap, as they're on 134 points. So they're still not out of Constructors' fight either. Anything bad from McLaren or anything bad from Williams there, they can still do it. And they're one of the only teams actually to not have a podium. Sauber being the other, who move up 2 places to P5, and they're only 1 point away from Aston Martin there, who are on 115 points. Alpine still in P6, even with Rhea Harris's result there, but they're much closer to the guys up in front here. Just 4 more points, they'll be up to P4. Racing Bulls there also dropping down a bit into P7. Without Dean there, it's been pretty hard for them to go and make any points up. However, they once again are very close, some higher up positions. Red Bull also actually, with a few points there at the end of the race, I think, and they take 8th place right now, 93 points. Ferrari on 87 and Mercedes on 76. I believe that is pretty much everything else I need to talk about, other than the driver's standings. Wisburn still leads by 30 points, but to Rose, who has been getting caught a bit now, once again, by Rhea Harris and Rashik Mills. Rose on 111 points, Rhea Harris 107, Rashik Mills 105, but Wisburn 141. The ball's in his court, really. He needs to lose roughly 10 points, I think, a race to be really under threat from Rose, and maybe a little bit more there from Rhea Harris and Rashik. But everyone else looking pretty decent there. Skills now, Henson still very evenly matched. Henson actually moving ahead of Demuth after all of that. Blackburn there, I think, actually also got ahead of Hazard, I think. Oh, no, actually, never mind, he did not. Coppola actually dropped to Hazard, and Exotic Swords got ahead of them. And yeah, that's pretty much the top 10 of the Drivers' Championship. And I think that is where we're going to end it now. We have a final triple header of Interlagos, Las Vegas, and Abu Dhabi, and by that will be the end of season 12, and we'll crown a champion then. Ria Harris, you are in P3, you are 4 points off Rose, and you are 34 points off Wisburn. So yeah, pretty close out there. Rasheed Mills is 2 points behind you, 105. So there you go. However, though, that is going to be the end from me, and I will be seeing you next week. I'm Miss Cookie. This has been BRL Season 12, Round 7 here at Texas. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.